So the last time we actually stopped in the middle of something because the Naga was actually pretty badly in the first place. Pretty much everyone saw the Naga for the first time.
Yes.
She's immediately attacked by some bird people in the middle of a natural disaster, and a lot was going on. I mean,
Yeah.
very busy scene. Uh, but junkyard Gabos and the junkyard paladin had like taken the Naga to safety in the back of the temple, and meanwhile the Sahuagin had run off with some people. We knew that was going to happen. And I guess I'm sort of have to orient around what's. I guess the question is, do we need to know any like immediate immediate like what you do right now, like literally after that scene ended, or do we skip it? Do you have anything in mind? I'm
So
curious.
I'm back up, right? Because I got knocked down once, but I got my free kind of
Yeah,
recovery.
yeah, you can get back up. Let me see how I wrote up that attack. I don't think it was. I don't think I gave any of these people destructive attacks. No.
Yeah,
So,
I think it was. Yeah, it was like severe.
so you recover, but you had the impression, at least the guy who shot you, the bird who shot you, thought that he had killed you. So
Right.
that's how I played that.
Oh, well,
Okay.
I guess have you told the Gabos about the bird people hunting you, Sam?
Yeah, probably. It's it's something that Nagas all share
Yeah.
this kind of thing. So I think it's yeah, definitely.
Okay.
Right. Yeah. So I guess, yeah, for orientation, we should talk about why they're hunting you, which is something that I guess it's a question of whether you feel like you know why they're hunting you or not.
That's wow. I had not really thought about that. So I think the idea of the Naga is that she's kind of the last of
Yeah,
the
that's
last
what I
one.
was going with.
So they're kind of like, all right, let's just do let's get an extinction kind of thing going on here.
Yeah.
Uh,
Uh,
yeah,
but
yeah. I don't know. I didn't have any better ideas. If you have a better one,
I,
uh,
do you conceive of the Naga? No, I mean I know why now.
okay, right, right,
I'm
right.
just asking how you conceive of the Naga in terms of what she knows about the basis of Naga civilization and how it all works and how it all started.
Yeah, I
Like,
think she's knowledgeable, but in a kind of becoming more and more of a mythical figure. Like actual history and actual genuine knowledge is kind of being slowly replaced in her mind with just mythological ideas. So she
okay.
might not have like a very
I guess just structurally or plot wise, is it important that she is in the process of the past is for her to discover, or is the past for her to discover, or is it for her to know? Is what I'm
I
asking.
think it's for her to know in a mythological lens. Yeah, yeah.
Okay. Okay. So, um, I'm just trying to think what to do with this mythological lens. Well, so what you would know is that the dimension crossing technology and the way the Nagas world works is they, like, in the early days of the Naga civilization, they discovered the technology of using like dimensional pockets to, you know, expand, like make buildings that are bigger on the inside and so of course, so that space has to come from somewhere, right? So basically the bird people are from a dimension that the Nagas effectively mined for space,
Okay.
collapsed the integrity of their dimensions, so it turned into like a weird chaos vortex thing, and so
Wow.
they are effectively homeless, and that's sort of the origin of the Bird People War. But they appropriated the Naga's technology to like sort of travel to other dimensions and try to find new homes. But there's always been like bird people who just swore complete vengeance on the Nagas and
Right.
just wanted to kill you all. Like,
Yeah, I get it. I get it.
and they pretty much succeeded for the most part. You're the last one.
Yeah. Yeah. Wow. Okay. All right. That's great. That's great.
Sorry.
That's cool.
I think the Gabos on principle side with the underdog, and learning that the the Nagas stole space from the birds, momentarily, like, oh wait, but then they think about the current situation, like, no, the Naga's still the underdog. We still want to support her.
Yeah.
It depends on what the Naga tells you, I guess. Uh, but okay, so we got that out of the way. So like when you come to and when like the Junkyard Paladin, I guess you can be around. Like what did the Junkyard Paladin do in the immediate aftermath of like the last thing we saw is like Papa Gabo countermanded Lola's intention to go rescue like the civilian who had scorned them before, or the
Yes,
person. So
I think just watched the tidal wave recede and then went back up
yeah,
to check on our friend.
okay. Okay, so you and the Naga will be in the temple, and I think you'll have a moment to talk about whatever you want to talk about, and like the people in the remaining people in the temple, as the waters do recede, ultimately, like there's gonna be people in boats, you know, the pulling through the city streets, trying to like recover people and get them to places where they can be on dry land. And I think you will see that like the streets going sort of up the hills are like totally silted out, like the side of the slope of the mountain, or the rise in the land is like it's kind of muddy, like where the city has been. So the upper slope of, or the medium slope of this mountain, right? Like if let's look at the map again. This is part me. This is part of the process of just talking through like what the physical reality of this place is, right? So the part of the so on the map, if you look if you can find that, that's
Mm-hmm.
in chat, right? Like Mount Zhao is basically like the whole side of this city is under Mount Zhao, and an extinct volcano. I'm sure it's fine. Um, but and like the caldera of the volcano, I would assume has some sort of special sacred significance that I haven't made up yet. But if you have a caldera, you have to have a fight in there eventually, right? But we'll see how it goes. But so this like these plantations of fruit orchids and things sort of like fix the soil up there. But as like the city pushes up the mountain, like there's no, like the Rambles is not built. Basically, when there's a flood, it falls. When there's a tidal wave, it kind of falls apart.
Right.
Like the tidal wave cuts under the the earth, the surface, the ground surface under the Rambles, and like there are mudslides, buildings fall down, like just it's just a mess. Um, And so that's sort of what is going on. Yeah, I forgot. It's not like necessarily a torrential rain flood. I was getting my natural disasters confused, but this is kind of this is kind of what the problem is. Um, so there's kind of, and the point of that is that we would be looking at some point we'd be looking at the Gabos going home and what's going on up there and what people are dealing with up there and whether they can help or not.
And just out of curiosity for like the military and the ruling classes and then the fishers, how do they weather a natural disaster like this?
So the fishers have a very, like, their huts all wash away and then they just rebuild the huts. That's sort of their, like, they have a very, not like, it's not transient, right? Like they're always there, but it's a very recoverable
Okay.
lifestyle, I guess.
Yeah.
They take their boats, or maybe they can just carry the huts, right? Like on their backs.
Cool.
They have a low overhead lifestyle, and
Yeah.
they just move out of the way of the disaster and then come back. Um, the the north and south manors are on pretty high. They're on these sort of like high ground. I mean, there are little rises and little rocky ridges, and that's where like the rich houses are for the most part. And so they have some damage, but they are, like blown out windows and
Mm,
like water damage to their, carpets or whatever. But they're much more recoverable than houses on the waterfront and things like that. I mean, this is not this is not necessarily a once in a lifetime event. Like, people have had to deal with this kind of thing before, but it's it's most traumatic right down here, right? Like to the waterfront and to the Rambles.
okay. Okay.
And the castle, I think, is also on kind of a promontory, and it's built way high up, and it's like I said, it's like magically made out of like a solid piece of coral, so it's not going anywhere.
Nice.
Um,
And so, what one more question before we go on? Would you mind dropping the proper name of the shark people into the chat?
oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
I'm not familiar with them.
It's not lagging.
You
Or subwagon,
Thank
however you
you.
want to say that.
Yeah, so I think there might be a split happening. So I think Jumbo wants to stay. Jumbo's got a lot going on, but he's very excited by the dimensional technology, and so he wants to stay with the
Oh
Naga
yeah.
and talk about it. Uh, I think uh, Papa and Lola are going back to the neighborhood to see what they can do to help, and yeah, to kind of check on their community and offer the enhanced strength of the paladin to repairs and rescue operations.
Hmm.
Okay. Well, I guess that raises the question of whether, like, it can go around without all of the goblins. Like, can they split up?
Um,
And
I
have it still be fun? Feels like it's more fun if they can.
Right.
Um, I'm just looking at your situations again, trying to see if there's
Yeah.
any basis for this needing a role or anything. But I think it's fine. I guess it's your call.
Yeah, they probably can't do anything like too advanced, but they can clump around and lift things probably.
Okay. Well, so I guess just the question is Jimbo going to stay here with the Naga or not by himself?
If the Naga's okay with it, yeah, Jimbo is insisting.
Okay, yeah.
And
Well, I
Lola and
think the
Papa kind of
Naga.
look at you. They're like, "Well, are you okay? We can do our thing. Are you okay with like watching the kid for a while?"
Well, this is interesting because I think after getting kind of humiliated by these, this little bird strike force, the Naga's going away, and it's Shala who's there. Uh, I think. I think. Well, this is a good question because I know what the Naga wants to do, but she kind of wanted to initiate a new religious movement, a new way of looking at this temple where she's actually present and can be like a force in these people's lives. And she kind of got her ass kicked. It's a little embarrassing.
Yeah.
So um, I have to decide what she's gonna do. Um, okay, I think the Naga is gonna stick around in Naga form.
Okay.
Yeah, and okay, yeah. So she'll talk to Jumbo. Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Okay.
I can kind of picture this. So we were in the temple, right? We were in like the lower area of the temple when we fought. Did you say where we were brought to, or not where we were brought to, but where the Naga was carried to?
I think
I don't really remember.
there was like a second. There was like a balcony or
Yeah,
something
like
up.
kind of up the stairs to the sacred snake room,
That's right. Yeah.
or I think is where you.
Yeah.
Uh,
Okay. Yeah. So I think the Naga wants to, she says to Jumbo. So okay, so right, so the other two Gobos have asked, and the Naga says, yes, I'll stick with this one, um, and she kind of is like, bringing Jumbo along to try to gather up a little crowd so she can explain, what this what these maniacs were trying to do here, and her plans and her other plans, for the temple.
And Jumbo is
Which
just like so happy. He's having trouble finding friends, so he's so happy to have a buddy, and he's walking around, 2 feet taller because his shoulders are back. And you mentioned this, and he's going around and saying like, everyone, like, listen up, like, go to the sacred snake room. The Naga's gonna speak. He's just, I think, being your little like assistant.
cool. Okay.
okay. Okay. So yeah, you kind of gather a crowd of sort of people who are just like wondering what's going to happen, what's going to happen now. They've sort of probably seen the battle and are very confused and bewildered about what I guess you like you were hurt, but you didn't die. What's going?
Yeah.
Why are there birds? Like, what's going on?
Yeah. Yeah.
Are they going to
So
kill? Like,
yeah. So she reaches into this kind of like she's got this dimensional technology stuff, and she fumbles around um somewhere and brings out like this technology scroll, like it's like a scroll, but it's kind of like digitally and stuff, whatever, picture something like that, and it's got runes on it and stuff, like a lot of snaky looking runes. And this is where she reads like the mythos about like these evil bird people who once were fighting for a good cause, but have been have brought their motives to the utter extinction of the entire Naga race or species or whatever. Um, and she's connecting this with the good cause of the temple being corrupted now by you know some higher ups who don't have exactly pure intentions. She's very very vague about it. I can't like do it justice. Like I hate to just summarize it, but like
yeah,
she's a little vague about it, but that's the drift of of what she's talking about, and she's giving like decent mythological, you know,
Okay.
yeah, yeah.
I think we can do maybe a presence attack is appropriate here.
Okay.
And let's look. So you're on the move. You're exhibiting power just by being there. So I think you're at like plus. Let's call it +2,
Okay, and then +3 for my growth.
+3. Actually, for setting appropriate too, because you're in a temple of you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, wait. So how many pluses do I get from the?
I'll give you +3
Okay.
situational.
All right. So
+3 would
+3.
have it. So
Okay. So 9 dice. I like the
okay,
high presence on this.
yeah,
The growth is crazy for that.
yeah.
Okay. So okay. Why can't I can't do this fast for some reason? Okay. 11.
Okay, yeah. That is a very high number. All right. I think you have now got like the people are falling down and worshiping you, and they're like some of them are fainting in awe.
Yeah.
And you just now have a cadre of fanatical devotees. I think
Okay.
is what we can
Cool.
the conclusion of that. Uh, Thoughts or observations from Jimbo? I mean, watching all this. Actually, Jimbo, roll your presence.
Yeah,
Yeah,
because you're kind of subject to this as well. Yeah.
that
You're
is true.
Kind of in the presence attack.
now I got to think of what the Naga wants to do with
Oh, not a
these
bad
people.
4. I've got 4
Four. Okay, so
against
you're
him.
still at the highest level.
Oh,
Cowed may
okay.
surrender your fate. So it is, but obviously your player character, so it's a different thing. But
Yeah,
it is like overwhelmingly impressive to you. I think
yeah,
her awe and majesty.
and yeah. I mean, I think Jumbo was inclined to listen anyway, but this is really him internalizing the Naga's mission and kind of making it his own in like this
Okay.
vis-a-vis the birds
Yeah.
and the temple in a way that Lola and Papagabo probably haven't.
Right. Um, yeah, that's neat. Okay. Um, okay. So, ha, how are you gonna wrap it up? Are you gonna have any
Yeah.
particular?
So I think the Naga is saying, we have a new mission and a new way, here because I'm here and I can, you know, I don't know how, like it seems like the Naga temple has been under kind of like more and more pressure, right? Like I don't know how
Yeah.
explicit it's been to the people who are here, but I think the Naga says like now, you know, you have me to defend you, and so you won't have to, and I can protect you from um, the threats, that have been made against the temple, and I can do, and I can only do that if if everyone knows about what's going on here, and if everyone pitches in. And I think, the Naga's saying, like, the Naga doesn't care about all this, like, the hierarchy of the priests and all this stuff. It's making everything too complicated. So she's saying, I'm gonna, like, basically open the inner sanctums up. And it's like Jesus throwing, it's like when Jesus came, whatever that thing is
Throw
where
out
he,
the money changers in the temple. Yeah.
yeah, exactly. It's like, so she's like opening up the more sacred rooms and stuff and like letting people like the rabble in and kind of telling them basically to pitch a tent or whatever, um because this is now a place where they can be safe and yeah,
Okay.
all
And
this kind of stuff.
Jumbo's, you're kind of reassured. He's thinking like, no one's ever gonna make me go into a fire beetle den again. Like
Right.
that. Because I have this support now. Yeah.
Yeah, and oh, actually, okay, this is what the Nagas say, and it's there is a message of, and like let's all take note of Jumbo here, and people like Jumbo.
Wow.
Because I assume most of the people in the Naga Temple are human beings.
Yeah.
And so the Naga's like this isn't a this is maybe a place that some of the others can find
Roll
safety.
your unusual looks, Jumbo.
They trigger.
Oh shit.
Okay. All right. So I think they're cheering and they're all thinking, yes, even if even a like disgusting, gross creep like that little goblin can, and we
Oh,
can do it.
yeah.
I hope I don't have to interact with him, but I guess you've got to do it.
Yeah.
Jesus.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
They're just
yeah.
private. They're just privately thinking that like little
Right.
thought bubbles over their head.
Yeah.
And I think the last thing is that the Naga wants to give them a way to like signal that they need her help or something. They're like, but I
Okay.
don't know what that would be. So I'll think about it, and I don't have any good ideas.
Is there a? Yeah, that's interesting. Um,
Because Shala will just be around,
you have
but
an
I'm like,
yeah. But I mean, the Naga has. Does the Naga have some kind of awareness power? I can't remember.
no, no, no,
Oh,
sadly
you could think
not.
about that for the future. You could. I mean, you could just have them like there are these two sort of like towers
Mm,
on each side of the temple. You could have them light lanterns in those towers, and then
yeah,
you'll come, assuming you see them, which of course sort of requires you to be checking those towers every now and then. I
right.
don't know if it works for like Batman always seems to know when that light turns on. So
Yes.
like,
Yeah.
you really watching it all the time?
Yeah, I tell them some shit like that, like about
Yeah,
lighting fires.
yeah.
Um, I guess. Yeah. Um,
Um,
yep.
okay. Okay, so they sort of spread out and go back into the temple. So like the main floor of the temple is covered with silt and driftwood, and so people are going to start cleaning up the temple. But like as you're sort of observing that there's sort of a commotion outside, and people start going out to see what's going on and what's happening out there. I don't know what whether you got it or not. Is that so? There's still water on the street level, and so like several boats have pulled up, and it's Ababasa and his crew, his motley crew, have pulled up in the boats. So like he's like a big strapping burly guy with a huge black beard and like a shaven head and like earrings. He's pretty classic pirate. But he and his men have got like they've got like a chest like full of silver and gold coins, and they're just throwing them out to people saying, you know, it's high. Ababa Sa will give you the money to rebuild your house.
Ah.
Remember, Flood Recovery Commissioner Ababa Sa has generously, like generously given you the means to live and survive this disaster. And don't forget, it's all in the name of Unkala the Valiant. Remember when when the Naga could not save your houses, Ababa Sa saved gave you
Okay.
restitution. So he is like explicitly uh, pitting himself against the Naga. And as he's saying this, like your newly zealous followers are going out and yelling at him to not say such heretical things. And he starts sort of like doubling down and saying, you only have to look around you to see that Naga is not helping you. Why are your houses swept away while this temple is still standing?
Okay.
If you were,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah. Now it's. I think that Shala hears her father and wants to.
he has a presence score. Let's go ahead and see how stoked people are about this. So I I did give him stats. He's not like full on villain, but he's more than just a regular dude at this point. We'll see. Yeah, I go. Fine. Not a lot, but that's enough for. So there's definitely like a crowd of people around him cheering for a Baba Sa, and when your people come out and yelling at them, like a fight is starting, like
Right.
at least a shouting match is starting, and it's probably going to turn physical at this rate because your people are extremely hyped up and just
Yeah.
are not having.
Okay. Yeah, I think the Naga is definitely slithering out there and telling her followers to like back up and is calling out to Ababa like, if there's gonna be any um fighting, it should be between the two of us and not between these, these people should be uh home or figuring out where their families are, not fighting in the street right after this disaster.
Hey, he sort of looks up at you and says, I have, I have no time for mere physical confrontation because I have very important work to be doing. Good day to you. They start pulling their boats away very, very quickly.
Yeah, okay, the Naga is not interested in like, just random acts of violence. So she's like yeah, she's kind of like turning to her, her new followers and telling them like, this isn't a time to fight. Let's clean up the temple and get it ready for people to move in.
Okay. Okay. And I think we can go ahead and wind up this part on that note and take a look at. I have to refresh my memory on the assorted families I made up for the rambles, but so I think, what did I call it? Like the house at the end of Wells Street, like that's where
Yeah.
you guys live. And I forget. Do you have luck or unluck?
No, I don't.
Okay, so it's
I've
just
got unluck.
okay. Well, no one cares about your unluck right
It's true. It's true.
now. I should have actually used that for the scene, but I think things got sorted out. Um, um, I'm just trying to. That would have been a good way to decide if your actual house collapsed. Um,
Yeah.
Right.
what what does it mean if your house did or didn't? I guess I'm just gonna say it didn't on the grounds that I have no way to really. I didn't come up with a way to like process how that would work out. But there's sort of like the families around you. This feels like it calls for at least some kind of coin flip.
Mhm. Yeah.
Maybe. Okay. So, I mean, your house, I think, is probably the houses are all sort of have silt on the floor,
Mhm.
silt in the front doors and things, and like problems like that. But um, the so the Knoll family, yeah, this makes a lot. This makes a lot of sense since like the little Knoll girl was the one who was sort of the ringleader of the little gang that harassed Jimbo. Um, but their house is completely collapsed, and
Oh
so
no.
you sort of see them like trying to like dig their possessions out of the thing. Like this is a father and a mother, and just the
Mhm.
one. There's a daughter and a son. The son is actually no. And there's a grandmother. But this is yeah. This was I used the no. This is no father. Sorry, I made a chart for myself. This is a mother and a grandmother. The mother is one of the ones who pushes the food carts. So this may actually be like Lola's co-worker
Mhm.
or the person who got Lola started. Um, so she has a younger daughter who is Yala, who was the one from last session or the session
Yeah.
before. And then incidentally, she also has a son, young adult son, Kahu, who is actually in Ababa Saw's crew and was on the boats with him in that scene. We would have
Cool.
seen it in the audience.
Yeah.
But for now. And then there's a mother who pushes the food cart, and the grandmother out. The mother is Glaga. They put all these names in chat. And then there's the grandmother Auga, who makes bootleg liquor in this house out of like like cheese curds and old fruit, and it's a it's a sort of a Nolish specialty that is a has a very funky smell, but it's very effective at knocking you out as fast as you want it. But
Nice.
like so, you see, I think you see the bugbear father and the son is the younger son who is like prepubescent, but still as a bugbear,
He's
still one of the
yeah.
stronger
The
ones.
biggest kid on the block for sure. Yeah.
They're helping like Glaga try to pull like this all the wood and the beams and the
Yeah.
collapsed roof tile out of this mess, and they're trying to like dig. You see, they're trying to like dig for the still, like Alga, the grandmother, with her like another knoll with I guess gray fur, a gray face,
Yeah.
and sort of hunched over with a cane. It's like my still. I had I had 12 bottles I was going to sell.
Oh.
They're they're broken. Like, how are we going to how are we going to get through next month?
Oh.
And
And
so,
just to check, so I'm assuming the bugbear's house is still standing and the kobold's house is still
yeah. So I
standing.
think
Okay.
their houses are still standing, but they're also dealing with just like random like you, you know hassles with minor damage, and things like that.
Yeah.
It's like the whole neighborhood is kind of a mess, but
Okay. Yeah. So the Lola.
the,
Yeah.
of the characters who I have bothered to name, this is the one who's now spelled it. Yes,
Nice.
that's
um.
that's
Well, we need to have something to draw in the panel. We can't. Yeah. So might as well be this. Um. And I want to say, so on the way over, we'd probably have some short. Like, I was wondering how much Lola and Papa Gabo were gonna interact or come into conflict. But I don't think Lola has like a any kind of principial objection to letting humans get eaten by sharkmen. It was more that Papa Gabo didn't like talked over her, ignored her, didn't listen to her,
Yeah.
right? And so they kind of she confirms like, look, uh, we're not going to be the humans heroes in the city, but you can't just ignore me like that. And I think I think that lands for him. So no soap opera there. I think they communicate pretty maturely. So yeah, they have rolled up after that conversation. They're walking, not flying, because they don't have their tech whiz. Um, and yeah, I think the enormous junkyard paladin kind of casts a huge shadow over the rubble, and then
Okay.
Papa and Lola like pop out, and look down on their friends, and Lola says, oh, I'm so sorry to I'm so sorry to see what happened to your house, and you're still, and like get at let us do this. We've got strength. Let us help you with this. And she's
Okay.
also saying like you all. She says like as they're doing, I think she's offering them a place to stay. She says like we can park our armor outside. Like we'll make room. Like you're not gonna be you're with us. You're not going to be houseless, while we have a roof.
Okay. Now roll your unusual looks.
Yeah.
Oh man, those unusual looks.
It,
They
it's like
trigger.
maximum. They trigger. Yeah. Okay.
Wow.
I think the mother says, well, Grok has agreed to. Grok is going to let us stay with him, so we'll be okay. But 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 sure, if you could just see if you could get the still out or the bottles. We yeah, we don't mind. They're just sort of like stuttering and like
Lola,
really don't know what to make of this, and they're sort of like they know they need the help, but are still kind of like baffled and off put by this weird steampunk suit of armor with goblins riding around in it.
yeah, I think Lola navigates the situation gracefully and says like, no, that's fine. We can keep this still, and any equipment we can salvage in our place. While you guys stay with these other people. Yeah, because you don't want this. You don't want all of your stuff out in the rain, and then they're gonna kind of wade into the rubble and be lifting things and fishing
Okay,
around.
so I'm trying to. I guess the question is this tricky? I'm trying to remember how you wrote your power. I think you can use just straight 46 strength, right? Without a
Yeah, without
what
any
is your
tricky.
yeah. And so it's just the blast. So it's literally just if you were to like blow something up. That said, 46. Well, go ahead and let's look at the materials chart. I
Yeah, I mean, I might need to push to.
40 strength is gonna be gonna get a I think like the superstructure of their house wall defense, body terrain, strength lifted detached in A. Well, that's not helpful. How do you know house wall can't be detached? Let's call well, if we call it a medium tree, it's like 5d6. Like a medium tree's worth of lifting
Yeah,
is 5d6 strength. So um that's what I'd say. and you could easily push for that. That's
Yeah.
fine. It doesn't feel like there's too much here. I haven't really thought of. Okay, I think maybe this is a dex thing to do the sort of like delicate operation of like saving these of like holding up the rubble and seeing what you can save from the collapsed house.
Okay.
So I think I'll call it a dex roll.
Yeah.
I had to think about this.
That is a success.
Okay, there you go. All right. So you managed to save several bottles, and kind of like you get the basic architecture of the still, which is a little banged up, but can be pretty easily. It's
So this is cool. I think we're seeing the results of, the previous conversation. So Lola is piloting and Papa is out on the shoulder directing
oh,
her. They're working very much in tandem. And also, the Paladin was not made for delicate operations, but Lola is like picking up bottles and these very delicate things, right, and not breaking them. So I think she might be kind of the pilot, the ace pilot of the suit.
right.
Yeah,
Like she's coming into her own here.
yeah.
And I think like the Knowles and everyone is like impressed and uh, grateful. So they have turned a corner a little bit on you, but they're still like uh
Oh,
they're
yeah, and she's showing off, right? So like the last bottle she gets out, she like throws it from one hand, catches it in the other, and then like hands it to Grandma Algo. And it's like here you are, and it's very impressive and cool. Yeah.
well, thank you. You know what? Keep the bottle.
Oh,
We owe you a lot.
don't mind. Yeah, she passes it to Papa Gabo, who on the shoulder, and he's thirsty. He's been working, so he pops it and drinks. He's like, oh, that's good. That's funky.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Okay. Yeah, we can call that one there. So we did that. What where are we gonna next? Okay, so there's a couple of things I have in mind next, and it's just a question of wording. Well, let's maybe think about so aftermath of all this happening. So you're like the Rambles is putting itself back together. The kind of the neighborhood around the Naga temple is putting it back together. You're sort of putting people up in the temple, right?
Yeah.
I think the next thing that sort of would be happening is what did I name her? The high priestess is actually going to come out and like see what's going on. And so sort of her plan was she was going to come out and offer, you know, comfort to her people, to the worshipers of
Right.
the Naga, and I think she'll be pretty surprised to see that like changes are in progress and the night. So I think we sort of see her like after after the floodwaters have subsided, we see her approaching in like she's being carried in a palanquin by like bearers, like I
Right.
guess probably bugbears, let's say. Uh, so she doesn't have to slog through the mud, but, but she they they just carry her into the temple, and she looks around and sees everyone and says, you know, people of the Naga, have no fear. With faith in the Naga, all will uh, your suffering will be bearable. And she's just giving the speech at this rate. She does not know that you're actually, or the Naga is actually there. Actually, that's
Yeah.
is the Naga actually there
Yeah,
still?
the Naga's there. I think the Naga comes at like I'm picturing this is in that kind of courtyard area or something. What is
Yeah,
it?
yeah, yeah,
Yeah, yeah. And I think the Naga kind of like slithers down, the air from somewhere else, and is like, there is no need for faith anymore, or wishes for the future. I'm here now.
Okay. I think she's completely stunned and her is like, what? It takes her a while to recover, and then she says, and what then is your wish? What will become of us in the world?
Yeah,
You just
yeah.
don't know.
The Naga says you know you, those the people who carried you here, they should be the ones who are considered the high priestess, or the worthy ones. You should bring yourself down to the level of the others surrounding you. There's why should you be above them when you hold no promise for their future anymore?
Harsh. Uh,
Yeah, I think I get it is pretty, yeah, it's pretty harsh, but
yeah, so you can't presence attack her. So, um,
that's right. And yeah, and Shala doesn't like this. So I have ideas about what Shala's gonna do, but
yeah. And so I think she says, what, but I have always served you. I've always served the cause of the Naga. I have brought the people's loyalty to the Naga.
yeah.
If anything, I am the one who should be the custodian of the temple, and you need not do anything.
Okay, yeah. Okay, yeah. So the Naga says, you have been faithful. You can, but okay, no, the Naga isn't concerned about the idea of faith to the Naga, though. Actually, I'm just trying to think about like how the Naga thinks about the world, and
Right,
like not like she's not trying to be a deity. I think
right.
she says there's no, you've done what you thought was right, and I don't want to be overly harsh to you. I'm here. I'm here to set things straight for more than just the temple, and your part to play is yeah. Okay, what is she gonna say to yeah? Yeah, she says, I'm not casting you away. You still have an important part to play here. You are still a custodian, but there's 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 no one to worship anymore because I'm here now, and we can we can move past worship.
All right. Uh, I think she just says, "What? But what do I do then?"
That's a good question. Let me think about this. Yeah, so okay, so I'm just trying to think. So the Naga sees this space for people and the ability to have some kind of collective safety, or like community that isn't just kind of coming here to worship, and isn't just propping up this high priest. Um, and the Naga, yeah, okay, so the Naga says, just all, just join in, and be like, and help out like everyone else. You could, look, like people are cleaning, people are picking up things, people are repairing things.
Right. I guess she looks around and says, I will see to the snakes and make sure they are fed. Every
Okay, yeah, yeah.
like, what is happening here?
Right.
He just sort of like, I guess, awkwardly bows to you, and it's like she's still trying to and does like a holy like thing with her hands, like she's still
Yeah.
trying to do the ceremony, and then just like quickly like sort of stalks up the stairs to the snake room.
Okay. Yeah. Wow. Okay. Yeah. I want to get back into, I think Shala wants to do stuff, so I don't
Yeah,
know how
yeah.
that will work. Because I'm
Uh,
trying to think, like, can I just, because obviously that identity shouldn't get revealed, so I don't know.
right. Well, as far you have instant change, so as
I
far
do
as
have
I
instant change. Yeah.
like slither around a corner or whatever and come out.
Yeah.
And I think that's completely the way you've designed the character. That's completely under your control, right? So
Yeah. Yeah. Okay, so I think that's going to happen because
it's
Shala
hard.
wants to go.
Once Shala is Shala, then it's hard. You have to make an activation roll to turn into the Naga, but turning back is pretty much your call as to when that happens, right?
Yeah,
That's
exactly.
an interesting thing to think of. Like narratively, it means that you're the author of when that happens and what it means exclusively.
Yeah. So I think this time Shala is actually like pulling, getting back in. It probably not. The Naga probably doesn't want this to happen, but she wants to go talk to the High Priestess and figure out what's going on.
Yeah. Yeah, so yeah, that's going to be it's an interesting conversation. Trying to think if we like immediately. Do you think she'll do that? I think we could do that now.
That's a good question. Yeah, probably in the next couple hours she's gonna do that once the Naga's kind of finished.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
let's go ahead and do that now. I think just for the sake of ordering. And so I think if Shala comes into the snake room, she'll see that the priestess just sort of like I guess she's fed the snake. She's just sort of like petting the snakes and sort of saying, "Oh, Shala, there you are. Um, I suppose you can do whatever you like. It doesn't seem to matter anymore."
Okay, yeah. Shala says, "I can't believe she. Yeah, I can't believe the Naga did that. I, You've been so faithful and you've been so good to me, and
Yeah, she says, I just wish, I just wish I understood the things she says make no sense. Do you think could it be some kind of prophecy? Perhaps I,
okay,
perhaps I should write down her utterances and I could perhaps interpret them and solve the riddle of what she's telling us to do. Like,
and Shala's like so mad. She's like clenching her fist. She's like, I don't know. I Do you think, is there a chance that this isn't the Naga that you've been worshiping? I mean, maybe there are multiple other Nagas. Like this doesn't seem right.
uh,
And there's got to be like a statue of definitely this Naga like right behind you when you say that.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
yeah. It's like, could it be? You think could there be some kind of anti-Naga? She really I think she likes this line of her. Yes, we should be on our guard. If she speaks again, I will carefully write down everything she says and go and contemplate it in the sacred trance of the ancient Naga rites.
Yes.
Um,
Okay. Yeah. Yeah.
I think yeah, I think she's just sort of in currently her mode is just sort of coping and like building this counter narrative for herself, right?
Yeah. And okay, and Shala's really into this because she's really furious about what's happening.
Yeah.
And she's like, if we're not supposed to tend to, if the snakes are just don't mean anything to this Naga, um, you know, I can spend as much time as you want analyzing, the scriptures, and please, maybe joining you in the trance. Um, yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. I think she's excited to have an ally, so she will yes, she will formally yes. Uh, I will gather the sacred implements and formally induct you into the priesthood.
Okay, yeah. Okay,
Okay.
Shala's happy about this.
All right. So I think that's a way to go. Uh, let's let's look back. So let's look at like maybe next day. Just gonna set up a scene here where maybe so people are cleaning out their houses in the rambles and things like that. But Lola still has a job, so she still has to go to work and push the food cart. And so I think she's going down. Uh, she's trying to figure out if this would be a bad sales day or a good sales day. Probably a good sales day because people are all out like doing heavy manual labor and trying to fix shit. So you're people are hungry out there, and you've got food for them. So um,
And
you're doing
she's not
business.
selling. She's actually giving it away.
Okay.
Yeah.
Um,
And says,
okay.
if my boss has a problem with it, well, I'll talk to him, when I talk to him. Yeah.
Okay. Nice. All right.
And so I think actually, what she's the whole family is in the suit. They're carrying around the food cart like under the arm,
Oh, okay. Oh,
and they're
wow.
going
Nice.
around and feeding people and helping them, rebuild houses and clear out
Ooh.
rubble. I think they've all uh, they've all decided that helping out in their community is more important than their job, and Papa Gabo was probably going to quit anyway, so he's like, sure.
I'm not cleaning this. It's like,
They were real micromanagers at the temple. you know
uh,
I can't work like that. I need some room.
okay. So I think as you're handing out rude food, and you sort of hear a voice, call out to you saying, "Can you spare a lamb kebab for a traveling peddler?" And you see the subject of the voice is like a figure sort of wearing like a dark wrapped in a big dark heavy cloak and a mantle with sort of like a wicker backpack, maybe filled with odds and ends, and holding a traveling staff. And but as you approach, the figure looks up at you, and you see like the face of like a some sort of sparrow or some kind of bird,
Yeah. Okay.
and uh, says, "Truth be told, I would like to talk to you if you can spare some time."
Yeah. So
Yeah.
Hey.
Jumbo
Oh.
instantly is like, oh, that's one of the bird people. And again, like the fist, the arm that he's operating like goes up, and the other two, kind of wrestle him off the controls of the hand. The fist goes down, like, no, no, we don't know that. Like, we have to talk to him first. So yeah, Lola, very deftly, dips into the cart and comes up with a kebab,
Okay.
and hands it over, and the paladin sits down and crosses its legs, and they're all, they pop their heads out and they're
Cool.
like, yeah, tell, what do you want to talk about, stranger?
Okay. So the bird person said, you fought several. There was a fight at the Naga temple, uh, and several. I guess she says bird people were there, in a way that suggests that she's not. one of them.
Mhm.
I guess she's not saying like, uh, so she's sort of like a little brown sparrow, like with like flecks and marks on her face. Um, she's actually she's from this dimension. She's actually a kinku. So
Okay.
you might
Cool.
figure that out. But she says, "What I'd like to know what you can tell me about what that fight was about."
Yeah, so okay, so yeah, the Lola and Papa, just well, they showed up and we started fighting, and Jumbo, having taken this, holy mission on, says, well, there's ancient enmity between the heroic and holy Nagas and the bird people. The bird people objected to their dimension being used, given the honor of being used for the Nagas' purposes, and most foully betrayed them. Uh, and so now these wicked devils are trying to finish the job. But they'll never succeed because right is on the side of the Naga.
All right. She just seems like sort of thoughtful and sad, and says, "Well, do you know where they went, or how someone would go about finding them?"
So I've been thinking about that. I mean, they had some wonderful trans-dimensional device, and I've been sketching some ideas, to be able to follow them. But right now, it's all very early stages.
Um, how would she handle? So I think she'll say, "Well, if you that's not my area of expertise, but if you think you have a serious, if that's for real, I may be able to help you with funding. My name is, let's see, my name is in the book. My name is Thierry, and uh, how would she put this? I'm very interested in knowing what's been going on here, and I do have some friends who can help with money for whatever supplies you may need. Keep me in. You can. She'll. I think she's gonna. It's gonna be some James Bond bullshit. Like, you can meet me at this. She names a particular like a waterfront tavern and says you can meet. I'm usually there on like Tuesdays or whatever. Like,
And Jumbo gives her a flyer for the temple. He's been handing them out all day, as they repair. So,
Nice.
says, yeah, and you can find, the you can find the a really nice, just a good community of people, just good people to know, here at the Naga temple.
it's like, oh, thank you.
We have a potluck on Sundays.
Okay. All right. Well, don't forget what I said. She does not look interested in the potluck,
Yeah.
but
And I think, yeah, Lola and Papa Gabo are very proud. They're, oh, so
yeah.
it's about time someone recognized your talents, Jumbo.
Okay. And I think we can like I think we can end on that note. I have like there's enough irons in the fire that I have to you know once again figure out the direction for next session.